are a couple sewing techniques where you are required to lower the feed dogs or the feed teeth. Those are the teeth that help pull the fabric through when you're sewing. So what would be a couple techniques that we do not need them in use? Two of them are very common. One is when we sew on buttons, and that is when we're going to be using the foot with those little blue toes. So when we put the button underneath the foot, we don't need those feed dogs kind of moving that button around. So the ideal thing is to have them lowered and out of the way. The second thing about lowering your feed dogs that you'll probably use is if you ever want a free motion quilt. That is when you get to take your fabric and a optional free motion quilting foot, kind of looks like a darning foot, a little circle, and it hovers over your fabric. And then you move the fabric in the direction you want it to go. So you're kind of going in all different directions. So once again, we don't need the teeth kind of making it hard for us to go in those different directions. So I'm going to show you where to lower them and how to lower them, but the key is how do you get them back up? And there's a little trick to that. So the lever to lower them is on the back of the machine. So start by taking the accessory tray off, and you'll be able to, once I show you, to reach around to the back side, and there's a lever right up below this free arm that we're going to slide to the right. Once we do, you will hear and see them lower. Here is the lever that I was moving. So you can see that I pushed it to the side and they lowered. Now, when I push it back, nothing happens. So here's the trick. And I'm gonna just do it from the back side here. And I'm also gonna just hold these threads, is to go ahead and take a stitch. So I'm gonna touch the needle down and the needle up button. And when you cycle a stitch, so you can do that by hand if that's easiest, but remember we talked about trying not to use the hand wheel, do the button. But see how those feed dogs come back up? So what happens is people lower the feed dogs, great, and then they are reminded they need to put them back up when they want to go back to sew, and they slide it up and notice nothing happens. So they go back and forth, and they think they've broken their machine. Well, like I said, all you have to do is take a stitch. So if you're more all working on the front of your machine, reach behind, slide it back into position, take your fabric, slide it underneath, and take a few stitches, and it will automatically bring those feed dogs back up. So if you don't think about it and just go ahead and sew, that's what will make it work. If you look at it, you might feel like, oh wait, they're not coming up. But that's the little trick. And if your pattern ever has you lower the feed dogs down, you have that feature built into the back of the machine. When you're done, put the free arm or the little table back in place, and you're ready to start to sew again. I hope you've been enjoying all these free video tutorials on the Singer CE677. We got a complete playlist for you to jump in and master this machine or a similar machine that you might own from beginning to end. If these videos have been helpful, please give us a thumbs up, like the video, and subscribe to our YouTube channel so we can continue to bring free content to you online.